episode. Today we're going to be going through another 3 free games. This first one is Fistful of Frags. I thoroughly enjoyed this game, so I think that it deserves a place on this. It's a first-person shooter online arena style game with customizable character. Well, not really a customizable character, but as much as you can pick your own loadout at the beginning of the screen and even choose left hand, right hand, or ambidextrous. And the skills that you can even, I guess you could call them skills that you can choose, include like quick draw and such like that. I thoroughly love this game, though to be honest, I am not very good at it. It's in moments it becomes frustrating, but I'll get to that in a second. But the pros of this game is that it's a very heavy hitter game. It's very much the kind of game that does right by its guns. I feel like whenever I'm shooting a revolver or a shotgun or a rifle, it sounds close, and the character even reacts appropriately to that. And for a game that I wouldn't say is at all a AAA game, it's closer to an indie game, it feels like they actually paid attention to that much detail. The atmosphere feels right, considering that this is set in an old western kind of era, like, you know, the late 1800s kind of era, and it feels absolutely correct to what it should be. Now, some cons I have about this game is that very much of it feels clunky. It feels like it's a game that's trying to come off as super fast at times, and then there's very many times where it doesn't feel that way at all. And aiming, definitely, okay, one of my downfalls playing this game is I lost my mouse, so I wound up just, going through it, demoing it with a touchpad. So I didn't have the correct setup, particularly your right mouse click is your aim. So, like any other first-person shooter that you can do with, I just assumed, fire from the hip, I can do that. I've been playing games long enough, I can think, hey, fire from the hip, that'll be fine. Well, firing from the hip in this game is very strange. You can't put your cursor right on something. Some weapons have something that feels like it's a little bit off, and as well as much as your movement affects your how you fire. It's the percentile as to whether it's going to stray. It's more like it's a percentage that the round will just vanish completely or go off in a completely off direction. The guns don't react in some ways that, you would shoot at something and it would come out the barrel of the gun. It seems like a classic RPG kind of style of how something would work. But very much so as it runs like a online arena style shooter. I died a lot playing this game. I can say that in a good hour of playing it, I killed one person. But did I like the game? Absolutely. I love the atmosphere, the sound of the guns, how some of the combat works. It's absolutely fine. Do I suggest everyone should try this game? If you love arena style or just first-person shooters in general, absolutely try it out. You'll probably love it more than I did. Truthfully, though, I'm not going to play this game again. It's not right there where I would like it. There's so much that I do like about this game, and I'm not going to nitpick about a lot of it, but very much so, there are some things that could have been worked out before its release, I feel like. But in this case, I think it's a good, solid game for what it is. One thing I did, a warning to anyone that plays this game though, you might have a problem with servers. In my case, I started up the game and I uploaded the servers and I got 2 people playing on one server on the entire game. Now, mind you, this changed later on. I feel like this game is very much focused on a singular time zone, or maybe 2 or 3. I mean, and of course it's a Steam game, so it's not. It definitely isn't. But this game has probably lost a lot of its players, and the people that play it are either brand new to it or are trying it out, or they absolutely just love the game and stuck around for it. But after a while, some more players did jump in. There's more than just this map. This is the map that I'm kind of showcasing at this moment, considering I died the most, but at the same time, I did well. The next game is Port of Call, and this game is very interesting. I loved it, and it's not for it's a severe jump from Fistful of Frags. It's a narrative game. It's a storytelling game. It's got some minor puzzles to it, and there's some bits that I'm still trying to figure out. I would absolutely play this game again, and I absolutely enjoyed every moment it had to throw at me. It has a very unique artistic style to it. There's some of it that doesn't seem artistic at all, but when you start to look deeper into certain things, the characters, how some of the art is just drawn in or modeled in, it just seems very unique. It seems very much its own world. Every character you run into, aside from the one character himself, everyone else has these masks, and these masks actually represent something about them. And this game has one thing I loved about it is that this game has a twist to it all. The story is amazing and it's easy to follow. You're not really confused about it. There's some minor puzzles and such in it, and once you get to a certain point, you start to put things together. You start to put things in a way you can finally recognize. And when I say that, it's like the story can seem confusing, but it very much is worth the wait the entire time. It has an interesting atmosphere. There's not really much music at all to it, but the atmosphere itself is just very, very enjoyable. It's a very relaxing game, and you can just hop in. There is one moment in the game that really made the whole game worthwhile. Like, the end is a whole twist on itself. It takes the whole game and throws it over. But there is some points that feels like it's darker than you're expecting, especially with the bright colors and everything for this game and how the animation is. It seems like this game would just be like maybe a happy-go-lucky game, or just you just play to enjoy or whatever. But it very much it's a short game. Warning about that, it is a short game, but I loved it. It's like with my last video where I had the house abandoned, this kind of fits into the house abandoned. I would absolutely play this game again. I'm going to keep this game, and I'm going to see if I can find out a few more of the puzzles that I didn't notice. I'm going to see if there's more to the game that I passed over, because there's some bits, and I'm pretty sure, and I suggest that anyone that loves narrative storyline games, you try this out. Go ahead, absolutely, you'll love it. But you'll really notice things that you can pick up or things that you can do, and you'll want to go back and look at them and see what's going on with this. Or even if there's anything going on with it. I don't even know. I'll just tell you that. I have no clue a lot of what's going on the, I guess you could say, the side story of the game. The primary story is very unique, very thought out, and somebody put a lot of love into this project, this indie game. I love it absolutely, and I'm gonna say that a million times. I'm sorry, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. But really, I think that you should try it out. You should see what it's like, and I'm going to leave all the description in the below. I am going to leave descriptions below. Now, forgive me about my verbal connotations of this entire video, because I recorded audio for this video already once before, and it turned out it didn't record, so, whatever. Anyway, so that's been Port of Call, and I think that you should try it out and see if you love it. My next game is Intelligent Design. This is it's not a new type of game, but it is very unique to itself. Now, I'm not exactly sure what's going on 100% in this game. As one, okay, think back on old classic games, and it would have new games, and you click on new game, and it would have so many slots. For example, like Conker's Bad Fur Day or Banjo Kazooie, maybe. But they'd have slots for new games. This game sort of has that, but it's cubicle instead. And it feels like you are a person. This is how I think of it. You are a person sitting at a desk billions of light years away. I don't know, maybe. But you are creating a community. You are creating an ecosystem, more like, of this world. You're given a blank slate with that one big tower in the center, and you have a certain zone of influence. And when you've gotten enough of a points, you can put a new tower somewhere and increase the size of everything you do. The game has an interesting art style all its own. There are three different things you control primarily. Aside from actually putting new buildings down, you put out spore seeds for the plants, and they start off as these little tiny dots, as you can see on the bottom, but they grow, and as you can see, those taller ones, they're very much the ones that I started with at the very beginning of this game. The second thing you want to do is, what I didn't do is I just threw a bunch of everything in there, see what happened. Bad idea. But the little blue dots you see running around, those are herbivores. They strive off of plants. They don't really get rid of plant life, especially if you have enough plant life. But they continue to eat, they breed, they numerate. And then the last one is your carnivores. The carnivores made me panic. And as you can see, that blue line right there on that graph in the bottom left, that was me panicking, because I put a little of everything down, and I realized that the carnivores work faster than the herbivores, where the herbivores just continuously feed off of growing plants. The carnivores wipe out wipe out entire groups. They run around and kill everything and eat them. And so I had to compensate for that, and I wound up putting way too many herbivores. There's some other instances in the game, like in the lower right, you'll see that's like humidity, that's climate and wind direction or change, wind speed, and it's very interesting because there's so much information to take in on this game. And it's very simple, it's done very well, but a lot of it is information and numbers. You can get, I guess you can call them skill points, science points, to spend on different things for different plants or animals that you put down. I love the art style primarily because it's literally just a bunch of shapes. Aside from the buildings, it doesn't seem like any design's gone into it, but other than, okay, let's just have a tower of green represent plants, and these little blue dots are herbivores, and big red dots are carnivores, and they grow in size depending on their age and how much they've eaten. But it fits this, and it feels very right. And I love the music. There's a day-night cycle, and it just seems like the music puts the actual ambient feeling to the entire game. There's this whole relaxing feeling to it, and this is very much a game that you can just sit, relax to, and enjoy your day. And I like that. I like to find a lot of just whatever, especially if it's puzzle game or horror game. I love them, but I also love my relaxing games, and I suggest this game to anyone and everyone that wants to just sit down and try a new experience. One thing I really did enjoy about the game, aside from music or ambience or whatever, is just watching the animals run around and some of them eating plants, the red ones eating other animals, and it just felt so relaxing to watch this ecosystem just thrive on its own. And that has been Intelligent Design and 3 free games. I will see you all in the next episode.